Hey kids, John here. In my discussions with people and answering questions on my YouTube channel, uh, I came across one question that made me really think about something. And it was a question about vibrato. And they were asking, do you use a tongue vibrato or air? Well, here's my air vibrato. Not so good. Tongue vibrato. Yeah, not so good. What am I doing? I'm using a jaw vibrato. So that vibrato is created by going ha wah 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 wah. That's what I'm doing. And then I went, that's changing pitch. Let me think about what I'm doing with my jaw as I go through registers. So if you play a low note, let's say a G, play that note and try and change register without moving anything. Nothing. Don't move your tongue, don't move your jaw, don't move. You can try and use more air, sure. Don't pinch your lips, just more air doesn't make it go higher. I'm going to try squeezing my lips together and see what happens. That's not working. So how am I changing register? My jaw's moving. You can see my chin moving. Whoa. Some people say, well, yeah, of course you're using the pivot system. Great. I think of it as vocalizations. I don't think about pivoting because, again, I don't want the concept of what I'm moving to create the concept of what I'm doing. I'm just playing the notes. I'm playing the notes and the mechanics are doing what they need to achieve the note. That's how I think. So, pivot system, what's that? Okay. It's where your horn's going to move like this, low to high. Okay, the angle of the horn pivots. Now, we want to diminish that as much as possible. So I don't really think about it. I just let it happen. But you see the chin bunch. Well, what's it doing? Whoa. Oh, yeah. That means my jaw is moving up. It's coming up a little bit, and it's also maybe coming out oh so slightly. But what it's doing is it's coming up to support the lower lip. So these are my lower teeth, like this, and then my lip is sitting on top, so it's actually like a shelf. It's sitting so the very top of my lower lip is just sitting on top of these teeth, like this. Okay, there's the teeth, lip comes up. And the tongue comes into that exact same position. So I've got the lip sitting on the teeth like this, and then the tongue coming right into that spot where the tongue, teeth, and lip all meet. So I've got the trifecta. It's a convergence, and all of it is there to support the lower lip and direct the air across that aperture. So it's very much a tool that's supporting the lip and directing the air. Let's take a look at it in the extreme upper register. There it is. Okay. So I'm not trying to curl the lip in, I'm doing this. Okay, but it does sit just on the top of those teeth. And that then can stay there, but the jaw opens up to create that lower note. So my jaw is opening and closing as I go up in the upper register and down to the bottom register. Now, what's the tongue doing? So the tongue and the jaw are working together to create the oral cavity that helps create the correct pitch. And it's also working together to create the support that the bottom lip needs to play into the extreme upper register. Okay? Now, how important is the tongue? I'm going to just demonstrate something very simple here. I hear a lot of players that don't have what I call a mature sound playing kind of off the center of pitch that's naturally on each note in the horn. That kind of sound. Well, I'm changing that with my tongue. I'm dropping the front of the tongue down and the pitch is dropping. So the result of moving the tongue changes the actual intonation of the horn. So having the tongue in the correct position gives us a centered sound or a good tone. And without that, you're not going to have correct pitch. As we ascend, yeah, I'm still definitely moving the tongue a bit in my mouth, and it's moving in conjunction with the jaw. So these two things together are creating the oral cavity necessary to create the pitch. Whether that means they're supporting the lower lip and creating an air column that is capable of activating the buzz on that pitch, and they're also keeping the center of pitch correct, that's possibly where we're at, okay? So my jaw moves. Okay? My jaw is moving. And that, in my estimation, is key to getting into the upper register and into the lower register. People say you need to open up your sound. What do you do when you want to open up your sound? If I play with a very closed jaw in the middle register, if I want to open my sound, the first thing I'm going to do is go, whoa, and there it is, okay? So having your jaw position and your tongue correct on each note can seem challenging, but if you think of it like I do, I think of it as a vocalization. That, to me, is how we're creating different pitches. It's a combination of our air and the support we're giving from our diaphragm, how we're letting it come into the oral cavity, the shape of the oral cavity determined by the jaw and the tongue position, and then people will say then the shape of your aperture. Absolutely. I think that all the motions together control the aperture, because without, I'm just going to tell my lips to change. I can't change my lips. I have to change what's around it. See, I'm pushing forward here. Or you can't change your aperture without changing your face. You have to change your face to change the aperture. So the aperture is a result of what you're doing physically. And it's a result of the air, again, the air column, the oral cavity, how you're shaping the tongue, and the jaw position, and the support you're giving the lower lip, and the seal that you're making, and then for me, pushing forward. Okay? So I'm keeping it fleshy, supported, and that's how I, when people talk about controlling your aperture, again, that's one of those mysteries, is the concept of how do we control our aperture. You control it with everything. Even the air that's behind the aperture has control over the aperture, because if you have it set, as soon as you introduce the air, the aperture actually develops. We're absolutely controlling the aperture with everything. Our facial muscles and the air, the oral cavity, jaw position, tongue position, the whole 9 yards. It's everything working together. This is what I'm talking about in mechanics. And that's why I love playing overtone studies or lip slurs, That teaches you the mechanics you need to get into the upper register. Without learning the mechanics, I couldn't do that. And now the mechanics just simply seem to be second nature. So that I can do because I understand the body mechanics necessary. I've developed the support from my air, and I've developed the mechanics that I need to use in my face. So the body and face working together, you have a chance. I hope some of this helps. Take it easy, kids.